Hey, peace and blessings, family. I know it's late. I'm getting ready to go to bed, so I'm looking like I'm getting ready to go to bed. I didn't want to go to bed or let the day pass without um, coming live and with just what was on my heart and on my mind. I don't know how many people keep up with news. Um, there's a lot of things happening around the world, and I know people don't like watching the news. But I believe you have to know a little bit of something. Like you just got to know a little bit of something. You don't have to be like wired into the TV, like every freaking minute on the news. So one of the things, a little ritual that I do is that every morning, like around 9 or sometime in the morning, I basically, excuse me, family, I basically watch Democracy Now. I have certain news that I watch, um, and just to see what's going on. And so Democracy Now has like 10 minutes where they kind of go around the world, if you will. Hold on, family. So I can't see something, and I know it's here. Okay, so they basically go around the world. And they just kind of give you like little glimpses of what is happening around the globe. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not. Oh shoot. Oh, damn it. I can't believe I just did that. Shit. Hold on, family. Sorry about this. I'm fixing something. I do apologize. Let's see. Maybe I emptied it all together because I hit the wrong button. Well, let's see. Okay, it's still in. All right, family. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me get back to this because I'm actually coming live on two things. So, um, yeah. Okay, family. Okay, family. Sorry about that. Why do I have an echo? Hold on. Hmm. Sorry, let me fix this. I'm gonna fix this echo, and then I'll be right back with y'all. Make this one. Oh, I mean, one of these is still open. So this is what happens when you have too many windows open. I have a lot of windows open. There it is, right there. Okay, I think I fixed it. No. Oh, there it is. Okay, family. Sorry, I fixed it. I'm sorry, y'all. It just took me a minute. I was trying to get something straight. Me trying to do a lot of stuff. So just real quick, family. I couldn't go to bed tonight until I came and just shared these words. I don't know how many of y'all watch any type of news, and I'm the type of person where I watch a lot of different types of news. I care about what's happening in my local area, but I also care about what is happening in the globe. And notice I said in the globe, just not around the globe, but in the world, period. And I don't know if first of all, I don't know if we're all keeping up with what is really happening in terms of Russia and Ukraine and China and South Africa. There's been a lot of little developments, and I really believe that we are heading into a world war. And I think for a lot of people, I know we're tripping off the price of eggs and the price of gas and X, Y, and Z. But I have to remind people of the people that some of us are from. Um, I think Black folks in particular, because that's the group to which I belong. And I'm Black. I'm not confused about who I am. African woman. Okay. We better start pooling our resources and maybe start moving in with each other or buying some property together or something. You know what I mean? We got to be a little bit more. Y'all talk back to me. um, um, we got to start moving into that direction because it's going to get tight in a minute. I mean, like it's tight now. And if you can't see the signs, I don't know what to tell you. There's been more homeless people than ever. People are really, really, really struggling. You know what I'm saying? In this world, because we keep trying to do individualism and we keep trying to make tradition that we knew was wrong and not healthy for us as a people, for our women, for our children. We keep trying to make the shit right because we want to do it, but we know that the shit is wrong, and it doesn't make healthy people at all. So the Russia thing, we need to be paying attention to that. But also we need to be paying attention to what's happening in Africa. Like for instance, I understand that the head of state or whatever for Tanzania made some racist remarks about African migrants. And so over here in America, we could choose to sit over here and act like they struggle is not our struggle, but that this is us. So I remember when I met a lot of Africans from the continent, like when I started hanging with them more and more and being in their company in the 2000s, especially, they did not too much care for Arab people. And I didn't know what that was about. Because they was just like, like immediately they would just had this, like they were really turned off with Arab people. I did not know why until I went to South Africa. I mean, definitely I seen them in our stores and, see this, all of these histories, family. So, um, you know, um, they haven't always been the nicest people to Black folks or Africans, but mainly this has something to do with our pigment family and the more pigment you have, the darker you are. This anti-blackness is real and it exists everywhere on the planet. But that black, dark pigment original person, that African, is really don't have a lot of friends. And mainly we struggle with befriending and being true to ourselves. So I'm saying to you, like, don't be so quick to go save and march for other people who basically would be enslaving us and treating us like crap because we've always had conflict with these folks. So my thing is this, you have to really look at this stuff. Like you have to really, so I guess, the people did come out and protest in Tanzania, saying that they did not agree with what their head of state said. But I always say, I don't go by what people, the marching thing don't mean shit. I always look at how you treat people when nobody's looking, when no one is watching. That's like in America. We talk a lot about how slavery is behind us, but yet we are sitting on laws that came out in slavery. Like they just remixed it, but it was the same system. And so I need us as Black folks, I need us to be smarter. Like, I know we have a lot of technology, more than what our ancestors have. but sometimes I don't think we be really using the technology. You know what I mean? I really don't think we be paying attention. You know what I'm saying? I really think sometimes we just be, um, like just going along for the ride, or sometimes we'll believe in conspiracies because we don't want to be honest about what we must do. So there's all kind of stuff happening in Africa right now. Um, United States, the more I see black people try to tell me about politics, I just look at them like they're crazy sometimes. Like, don't worry about your position. You're gonna have whatever position you're gonna have, but you're not gonna use me to get that position. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like we just gotta do like a better job. Like if we gonna say to our ancestors, thank you for your sacrifices, but I'm here now and I'm going to add something to this continuum, then you got to add something of some stuff, substance. Like you have all of the history. There has been some really good information coming out, but we up here being lulled to sleep by people saying birthing people. I'm not a birthing person. I'm a woman. I want my right as a woman to be respected. I don't want to be a people. I'm a woman, so that's what I am first. That's what I've always been. I think the tricky part is as much as you want to help people to have rights, that same group will turn around and act like you don't have any rights because it's something that they want to have. And I don't know if you can do both. I don't know if I can respect you as what you are designing yourself to be and who I am from birth. Like, I don't know if I can honor the two things and still be in safe space. You know, I used to hear my Uncle Stanley, blessed memory, talk about like America and all of, and my uncle fought in the Civil War. I mean, he fought in the World War II, and he went through a lot of stuff, you know, with this country in America. And as much as he, was a respectable man and you know lived by the rules and all that, America did a lot of shiesty stuff to him, like not allowing him to use the rights that he fought for. And so he would always say to me, I pray to God that that I'm not alive when America gets what's owed to her. I never understood that, you know what I mean? Because he served in the military and um, oh, who is this? I don't know, Max Hair Salon. I'm sorry, because I'm on Instagram. I, I, I just feel like I think I'm gonna live long enough to see what my uncle was kind of talking about. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it's a bit scary when you're looking at the times. Now, I do understand us having, religious faith and spirituality and all of that stuff, but you just can't keep doing stuff to people. And then, old people have a saying that God won't always let the devil win. That's a very old saying. And I just never, I just never forgot that. You know what I mean? Like I'm living long enough where I just never, never, never forgot that. And I'm just so grateful. Like even when I'm doing my work with kids in school, I could tell our kids don't know a lot of stuff. And that's scary because they're not gonna be able to compete on the world stage, no matter how much technology we give our kids. Like they don't know enough of the history to even know what all of this is really about. You know, when I was listening today to the news and they were talking about telling China not to aid or arm Russia, even though U.S. is arming and aiding um, um, the other place. I'm sorry, my brain just went like poof. Um, I thought to myself, how do America get to tell people what they can't do? And we do all kind of crazy stuff. But then I think we all so forgot the things that we did to these countries, and now those countries are all friends. They're all allies. And I'll be honest with you, I'm very proud of a lot of African countries that abstained from the vote, um, because I feel like People just act like Africa is a place where it's just a throwaway place, and it's really not. And so I think Africans are getting the message that they're more valuable than they know, and they need to not always jump in bed with the United States. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always healthy, even though they may get some help from there. But I don't think America has a lot of respect for Africa. We know she don't have a lot of respect for its people. So I think sometimes the best thing you can do is to withhold your 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 vote, or just abstain, if you will, because you know that this is not a good thing. This is not a good thing. We have elections getting ready to come up for president. Black people, stop being afraid of the boogeyman. The shit ain't real. We've been dealing with the boogeyman all of this time. The Clintons were the boogeyman. You know, I lived in those 90s and in those, yeah, I lived in that time. And I was coming of age at that time. And, a lot of brothers got locked up under the Clintons. That was their laws. And I know some black people, would sell their kid to be next to white people, sell their whole family out. So no, we got to be a little smarter. I'm not saying vote for a Republican, and I'm not saying vote for a Democrat. I'm saying we got to stop letting people make us feel afraid of people. And I wasn't a Donald Trump supporter. I did not vote for Donald Trump, but I will tell you this: um, when Donald Trump was in office, I don't feel as afraid or as fearful as I am right now. Y'all get that? I don't feel that fearful right now. Right now, I feel like, this is kind of crazy. And I feel like we need to pay attention, family. Check the time. Check the time. And I don't mean your watch. Check all the signs of the times. They're here. People talked about living in certain day. I grew up watching a lot of sci-fi. I feel like we're in sci-fi. I feel like, how do we not see all these homeless people in America and then still bring in more refugees and more immigrants? Like, how do we do that? With a straight face. It don't mean that you're anti-immigrant or nothing like that. But that, it's kind of like you trying to feed the whole world, but your kids in your house are starving. It kind of don't make no sense, huh? So and don't just assume that people are your allies. That's why I hate that term of color. I hate it. I don't use it. I just say black, or I may say Latino. I call you what you are if we're talking in that way. But of color is dangerous because most of the people of color are anti-black. So you cannot do an allegiance with people who are anti-black. You know, including other black people. So I don't know. I just feel like, just check the time, family. Please look at this Russia thing and China. China is a superpower. Everybody probably have something in their house that was made in China. They're very powerful people. And I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying they are the wrong goddamn people to be picking a goddamn fight with, to be trying to bully in your order or whatever that is. You know, we need to be asking ourselves, why do we care so much about European life, but not African life? Why are we really involved in Ukraine? Why are we supplying these people? Why are we sitting by and letting Israel do what it's doing? Because I've heard it from all the sides, you know, but something's very wrong with that. When you could just go into a settlement and just start killing people and pushing them out. Something's very wrong with that. Black folks, you really, really do have to do your research and then have an opinion about it. You know, because what's going on over there is cool. And you know what the crazy part is? And this is my honest to God truth, because where I stand, it's not as easy for me. When I look at Israel and I see those Palestinians, my real truth is, and this is really the truth for me, Rolanda, is that I don't know how Palestinians or Israeli people would treat Black Row. I don't know. As much as I want to stand up and be on the side that I think is right, either of the sides will treat me and have treated me like shit. Because there's people, when I see African people, I see myself. So it's not as easy for me, even though I can look at something and say, hey, that's wrong. You can't bulldoze their settlements, right? Or how do you come into a country and then make it yours? So that's not really easy. It's just not. But I just think the answer is not easy. I am not I'm a spiritual person, so I'm not siding with somebody because they Muslims. Because when I was in South Africa, I met a lot of nasty, disrespectful ass Muslims that were Arab, and some of them were colored, and they were worse than black folks than white people could ever be. And see, that's the shit we don't want to talk about because we keep acting like we're all in the same boat. But it is so obvious, and I mean so obvious, that we're not all in the same boat. It's very obvious. So, family, check the time. There's a scene in the movie School Days when the guy says, check your alarm clock and wake up my brother and sister for that matter. We got to check it. We can't be so consumed with technology that we refuse to see all the signs. They're all around us. So that's the global stage stuff. Then in our own communities and our own families, the disrespect of women is rampant. It's celebrated. It is honored. If I meet another black woman who want to compare crimes when it comes to black men and white men, I am going to scream. Something's very wrong with us when we're comparing sentences that a black man got and a white man got. When it comes to things like murder and rape and violating people and treating people like shit. And so I know in some parts of the black community, our need to protect black men is sickening because a lot of these motherfuckers need to be under the jail. Some of them should be lined up and shot so they can come back as a tree and maybe we can get some good fertilizer out their ass. I mean, I'm dead ass serious. I heard something today and it really disturbed me because a bunch of women were backing up somebody and protecting a person that did something that was so vile. And then you want to make the woman feel like she's crazy because she's trying to stand up for herself. So for some people, you have to kind of cut your family off because they're sick. And you don't want your kids to grow up in sickness like that. You really don't. You know, you had an uncle that was touching and molesting people, and you want to protect him because the way they do our black man. What the fuck does he got to do with that? No, seriously, family. I work with girls all day. I get so tired of hearing about shit like this. I get so tired. And it's not just you talk to the girls. At some point, we have to talk to men and boys about doing a better job of their boundaries and controlling them in their damn selves. We gotta do a better job. Or we're just not gonna make it. So one thing, we have the whole world around us and things are happening around the world. You know what I'm saying? And then we have things right in our own backyard, in our house. And you know what because there's so many wars going on. I watched the in Jenga. Hope I'm saying it right on Netflix. Sister Jada Pinkett Smith did a wonderful job on that film. I love that film. I've watched it. I mean, it's this docu series. I watched it several times. But I think one of the things I really loved about it is when she told the story, it wasn't this story of victimhood. I think when we talk about the Black community and things that we're struggling against, we leave out all the elements of being human. So we know humans love, humans lie, humans lust, humans learn. I mean, all of these things are like attitudes and ways of life. And so in the film, when the sister, her brother killed her son because he didn't want any heirs, we act like African people and Black people aren't capable of doing some shit because they have aspirations of being king or being the head of something. Like, and so when we leave this thing out and we say, well, white people did, you almost take your own right as a human being and having human, all the elements of being human, you almost give that away to the colonizer, to white people, because you don't want to take responsibility for the shit you did by choice. See, I'm from those people. My mother was that person that my mother talked a lot about responsibility. Even when I was young and I had teachers who were racist, my mother would always tell me that, but you have a choice, Ro. She would always say, you have a choice. I never forgot that. But it's hard to build in the community with Black folks where no one wants to take responsibility for their own actions. And so it's one thing to go out and say you want to fight white supremacy and you want to fight, the good fight and social reform and police brutality and all of this other shit, which has been here since the founding of America. And please remember that right out of slavery, there were over 60 Black towns in the United States. So your ancestors did not let the brutality of white people stop them from doing for self and building with each other. It didn't mean that it was all hunky dory. It don't mean it was all lovely and that we were just bathing. It doesn't, because it was Africa. No place has ever been perfect. You have people who lie, steal, kill, cheat, backbite, all of that. That's a part of the human condition. But when we tell the story like we're these perfect people, then we can never really get it right because we can't be honest. We just can't be honest. So I just could not let my head hit the pillow tonight without coming online and talking to you all about the time. And I'm not talking about the watch on your phone or on your wrist. I'm talking about the time in the world where we're at the brink of a world war with superpowers and everybody is flexing their weaponry, and their nuclear weapons. And we are in America tripping over the cost of eggs and gas. We have people at the southern border trying to get in to this place in America, and we have people sleeping all over the streets in America. But we have money to aid Ukraine. But we don't have money to take care of the poor and unhoused in our country. These are great contradictions. So when you get a shaken 80-year-old something president, who, by the way, was the person who backed that crime bill that locked up all the Black men, And some families never recovered from the crack era. They never recovered. That's why black families, a lot of them are so fragmented. They never quite made it back from their mama being on drugs or their grandmother not being able to raise their mom proper. They just never quite made it back, that all the men who were viable went to prison. They just never came back from that. Check the time, family. Check the time. Our children are faster, but they're slower. They know technology, but they don't have common sense. They can do all things through gadgets, but can't do anything manually. Most children in America do not know how to write a letter on an envelope with an address, a returned and sent address. Most kids do not write in cursive. Do y'all hear me? Check the time. Check the time. People want to do this identity politics. Are we native? I ain't African. Don't nobody want to hear that shit. Check the time. Check the time. The world is spinning faster and faster in our resources. And I'm a firm believer that the earth, blessed mother, can wrap this shit all the way up. Because it is cold as hell in Sacramento, snowing in Los Angeles, and 80 degrees in DC, and it is February. Some people believe these people have a weather machine. Look here. The planet controls everything. She can correct herself. Don't forget, family. Check the time. There was a time where dinosaurs roamed the earth. They're not here anymore. Do you hear me? And I think sometimes we forget because most of us aren't history people. So we don't even try to go research. You have a phone, you can research anything. And we haven't researched anything. Check the time. Check the time of day. The signs are everywhere. There are people homeless in front of places that usually people used to be homeless. They'll be hiding in the back of something or behind something. These people are homeless in the walkway that you have. They want you to see there are a lot of us. They are a whole population. The homeless people are the unhoused. All of these people are not folks who are suffering from mental health problems. Some people were workers. Some people were teachers. Some people were activists. Some people took care of a whole bunch of people. But in our society, we have barely any respect for elders. And everything is so kid-centered. But I've never seen a culture where it is kid-centered and they're just guiding themselves. Not possible. But we would throw our kids out there without a guide and call it youth empowerment. And they don't have a clue, not a clue, on what has happened before them, what is coming down the pipe to them. This is a problem. We haven't really talked about what we still have more people coming in. And why do white immigrants have a different experience than the brown and black immigrants that come in? And why do black immigrants have the worst of all? Ask the Haitians. They disappeared, those Haitians, in 24 hours in Texas because I was there. Check the time, family. Check the time. Because all of us are walking around with a big ass clock on our chest with the wrong goddamn time. World War III is upon us. You cannot escape it. Russia is not backing down. China is rolling with Russia. And there's really nothing that none of us can do. But if you are a mother, hey beautiful, look at your children, because the world they're going to inherit is not going to be a pretty one. I don't know how many of y'all watch the Mad Max series. We are in Mad Max right now. But we're also in the time of the Jetsons at the same time. Some people think up is down and down is up. We had just changed everything about people. We are really in a confused state right now. We're in a very confusing state. All right, family. I couldn't let the sun go down without saying that. I don't know how many of you are okay, let me see what this says. Trying to read your comment. I don't have my glasses on. Yeah, I didn't even get on that. Because at the same time, like we had a boat that just capsized off of the coast of Italy with a lot of people from the Mediterranean in the boat. And the Italian government, see, I got to check the time. The Italian government, there's an organization who will rescue people at sea. Well, they could not go out for 2-3 days because the Italian government held them up. Check the time. The respect for human life is almost null and void. We would let a whole bunch of humans drown in the sea because we don't want them here, wherever here is. But I'm willing to bet you that country is probably making some money off of the country that they left, which is probably why they had to leave. Not to mention, I guess in Latin America, they just opened up, like they said, the world's largest prison. I'm like, wow, because America got some large prisons. And not to mention, we are in a time where we're still glamorizing decades of people who sold drugs to us, and we want to write all of these stories about moving weight and rap music about moving weight. So who else is writing about the demise of their own communities and celebrating it at the same time? Who else is doing that but us? And then wonder why nobody respects us. Nobody cherishes us as Black people. We are so creative, but we don't have no goddamn loyalty. Not none. So, family, please check the time. Check the time. Not the time on your wrist, not the time on the wall, but the time in the world. Where are we? Are superpowers getting ready to collide? Are we ready? How is our home situation? Can we live together with each other? Or are we all living in apartments paying too high rent that we can't afford to live in a space that's just not enough? Are we holding on to relationships with people who we know aren't good people? Have we chosen a no good man or a no good woman over our children and then expect that they're going to take care of you when you get old, but you didn't make the sacrifices for them when they were young? Check the time, family. Check the time. There's many explosions everywhere. And right now, you could do something. but it's going to take some courage and some long, hard truths. Some of y'all may have to put the weed down because you really ain't got glaucoma. Why do you want to feel good all the goddamn time and you ain't putting no work? I mean, shit, some of y'all don't even do recreational weed. Y'all smoke every day like it's drinking water. Nothing could be going on with you that deep, but you have to smoke every day. And the only reason why you have these issues is because you refuse to look at your own shit. So you want to smoke it away. You want to smoke it away. But the problems don't go away because when your smoke clears and when you run out of wrapping paper or blunt wraps, that problem is still there. The thing that got you smoking all that damn weed is going to be there in the morning when you wake up. The problem that you have is so real that even when you smoke, the problem just kind of sits beside you and rides your ass because you don't have enough courage to turn around and look it in his face and deal with the shit. You would rather take your mishaps and your backwards, destructive rituals and culture and pass it on to your children and your grandchildren and act like it's fine because you don't want to say the shit I taught you was wrong. The shit I did was wrong. You don't even want to say that. Because that means you would have to look at yourself. You would have to take that feeling that the person give you, which is only for about 5 to 10 minutes, and you would have to tell it has to go now, that I'm living for my children. I'm living for myself. I can do better. And it ain't too late. But you have to put that weed down. You know, the funny thing is they locked up more black men in particular for selling weed. And when the shit became legal, very few of y'all could open up a weed dispensary. That was your underground economy. And now that the shit is legal, you can't even afford to sell it, you know, righteously or legally. You're just gonna be happy with your weed card. While these people make up all kind of different type of weed and strains and all kind of shit. Check the time, family. I'm gonna say this before I get off of here. There's a line from The Spook Who Sat by the Door. And the line is, the white man cannot police the whole world and keep us on our ass too, without us basically participating. Man, shout out to the people who did The Spook Who Sat by the Door, the movie. Shout out to those black films who, in their own way, tried to tell us about the time. The hard way about them poisoning the water to kill off all the black people. That was in the 70s, family. Check these movies out. They're on the YouTube. They're free. You know? There's a lot of nothing under the sun is new. COINTELPRO is real. Always have been real. Always will be real. People don't change the playbook if it works. The playbook works. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to recreate something new. You can go right back into history and see, how do we enslave a people? And now how can we incarcerate them? And one of the things I know, family, is when you give up your mind, they've already won. When you lay down your body and you just become a zombie and you smoke weed all day and watch reality TV shows all day and talk shit about what people ain't doing while you ain't doing shit, you help the other team win. Because as they were coming for somebody else, and that night, in the morning, they'll be coming for you. All right, family. Check the time, not the time on the wall, but the timing in the world. Good night, family.